going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock.
He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Catch made! Touchdown, Oregon!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Dan Lanning off the practice field today. Coming up in just a little while, we'll kick off the show with that. The Oregon Football Coaches Show comes your way this evening. We've got Coach Lanning, and Stephen Jones will be with us here in the Country Financial Studio. Veteran offensive lineman. CFP rankings are out. We've also got a conversation with Graeme, Abel, Oregon soccer head coach. He chatted with Ryan Milano earlier this week, wrapping up the season, talking about the offseason ahead, and a number of Oregon football post-practice interviews with some student athletes too. And Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com, will be with us. Also tonight, Oregon women's basketball, second game of the season. 6 o'clock tonight, 5:30 pregame show with Chris Clayton and Bev Smith right here on the Oregon Sports Network. It will be televised on the Oregon live stream. You've got the Oregon Sports Network radio call also on the Oregon live stream broadcast. It's going to be a fun time coming up tonight. Again, Chris Clayton, Bev Smith, 5:30. Then the Oregon Football Coaches Show, 7 o'clock. Those of you who will be listening in Portland, a reminder, 1300 a.m., 1300 a.m. is where the women's basketball game will air tonight rather than its regular home on 860 a.m., just a programming conflict. It'll be 8:60 a.m. in Portland the rest of the way. And then those of you who are listening in Eugene, KGN 590, 98.1 FM for the women's broadcast, 95.3 The Score for the Coaches Show coming up tonight. And, of course, the Oregon football social media channels will have you covered, as well as the entire Oregon Sports Network for the broadcast here tonight. Yeah, a very veteran team, actually, in Arkansas Pine Bluff. I was looking at the roster. They've got a lot of players back, so some new faces for the Ducks. I'm interested to see how this matchup goes this evening for Oregon women's basketball. College football playoff rankings. Ducks are still at number 6 in the second edition of the CFP rankings. They came out last night. 8-1, 5-1 in conference play. The nation's highest-ranked one-loss team. Ducks are one of 5 Pac-12 teams in the top 25. Oregon and number 5 Washington represent the Pac-12 in the top 10, followed by number 12 Oregon State, number 18 Utah, number 21 Arizona. Oregon has now appeared in the CFP rankings 36 times since it began in 2014, when Oregon went on to play in the inaugural CFP National Championship game. This is the Ducks' 21st top 10 CFP ranking. And none of it matters. Fun to talk about. Nice litmus test of where the Ducks sit. The one that determines who gets into the playoff is the one that matters the most. And I think the resume tells you that the Ducks have their goals all still in front of them. Let's see what happens. 7:30 on Fox, Oregon takes on USC. Coming off the practice field right after practice, Dan Lanning talked with the media today.
All right, good day of work. I'm really proud of the guys that are giving us a look this week. The look is extremely important, playing obviously a really talented team. You know, Brock Thomas is doing a good job over there of extending plays and making it challenging for us. On the defensive side of the ball, several guys on defense doing the same thing for our offensive unit. But tough challenge. You know, today was a good third down red area day. Plenty of stuff to clean up. We're going to open it up.
Receiver-wise, who gave you guys a good look or has been giving you guys a good look?
We have several guys over there that have done a really good job. You know, it'd be hard for me to single one of them out. There's been a bunch of guys that do a great job.
Their first drive on offense every game, they're pretty good. I think they've scored.
They're good on pretty much every drive. Every game. Yeah.
What makes them so good right out of the jump, though?
Yeah, I just think that they have a rhythm and a sequence. They have a quarterback that can make the plays, and they've got really a lot of talent around them. You know, they probably don't get enough credit for the run game. The running back's really good, does a really good job. Their O-line's one of the better O-lines we've seen. So just overall, offensively, they're very efficient.
You faced Marshall back in 21. How have you seen him kind of improve since then? And what have you seen from what kind of challenges he posed for this defense?
He's a big, strong back. He can run. You know, catches the ball well out of the backfield. But you know, just in general, that it's a big back. It's not a kind of guy you can just tackle. You got to wrap up. It's going to take a lot of hats to the ball. Doesn't go down, rarely goes down on first contact. So it's going to be a good challenge for us.
Do you look at the fact that they've lost 3 of their last 4 as something where they expose their weaknesses, or as a motivator they might have a chip on their shoulder?
I don't really look at any of that. I'm looking for our team to play our best game, and we know we're playing a really good team.
Tosh faced Lincoln back in 2018 when he was at Bama. Anything like schematically that just holds true and just holds similar from what Lincoln still does years later? Or?
No, I mean, ultimately, obviously, they're really good on offense. Lincoln's a great play caller, does a phenomenal job of scheming up plays, game to game. I think he does a good job of keeping it simple and getting to the right looks. They see you in certain looks, they take advantage of it. So, overall, this is a really good offense, as good as we'll see.
You preach about penalties all season and not facing an opponent who commits as many as USC does either. This game historically has always had a lot of penalties. It just seems to be a lot of emotion captured into it. What's the message to your team where it's a message you've had all season, but in this game it just always seems to bring out a lot of penalties in both teams?
Yeah, it's the game within the game. We got to be able to stay on schedule on offense, which means you can't get penalties. And obviously defensively you can't give them new opportunities. You can't give them new first downs. So, that's definitely one of the keys to victory in this one.
The goal every week, Coach, is obviously to win. You want to motivate your guys. What do you like about that process? Just trying to get those guys to buy in every week.
Yeah, we have great buy-in, right? It's not a weekly thing. It starts in the off season. We talk about winning games as one Sunday through Friday. It's not really one on Saturday. So these guys work really hard, extremely hard throughout the week, and it's a player-led team. They lead that process.
Where have you seen Jackson grow most as a center from week 1 to maybe even start of fall till now?
Just overall consistency. Reps over time, are really important. He's a guy that's played all across the line for us. Obviously, this year he's played a lot at center. But he's been a guy that's with consistency and reps. He's continued to get better and better. He's always been a powerful player. He's very athletic, at the position, and he moves bodies up front. But this one, this game will present some unique challenges for him with the front that they have.
Talked a lot in the offseason about Jamal's move to linebacker. He's had 9 going into 10 games at it. What have you seen from him at that position from the move for the safety and what he's offered to you at the second level this year?
Yeah, I think it's been a great position fit for him. Ultimately our linebackers are guys that can run. They're guys that can run, but they're also very willing tacklers, physical, smart players. They get us lined up, and I'd say that's one of the pieces that's been really good for us this year, the way that we have speed at that position that can line up and make plays.
Steve Stevens is playing some of the best ball we've seen from him in a while. What have you seen from him in recent weeks that's allowed him to kind of take that step?
Steve's a guy that takes every nugget we give him in the classroom and he carries it out there on the field. He's a very smart player. He makes the players around him a lot better because he has anticipation. He understands the strengths and weaknesses of each call, so he knows where to cover up. He understands the guys he's playing with and how he can get them lined up to execute. He communicates before the snap, communicates before motions. He's a coach out there on the field for us.
Talked about recruiting in Southern California and how important it is to the program in general, but especially in a week like this. Speak to just how important it is. SC was asked about something similar to recruiting Southern California, but especially for whether it be J. Sarah or Bosco or Mater Dei to win at those places, and the importance of bringing in guys from those places.
Yeah, we want to recruit the best players in the nation, and there's a lot of great players in California, right? A lot of the best players in the nation in California. So it'll always be a place that we want to tap into. Obviously, this game, certainly carries some pieces to that, but more importantly than that, it's go out there and execute in the game and continue to recruit great players.
We haven't seen as much of Devin Jackson lately. Is he okay health-wise, or is that just a product of the guys in front of him playing well?
He's been dinged up. No, he's been dinged up, and we've protected him. He's getting back into it this week. He's out there on the practice field for us today.
As you start to reach redshirt decisions, what will dictate some of those? Like, for instance, like Adante Dowdell is one, or I think Dalen Austin might be another, or Rod Pleasant, one or the other. What will start to dictate some of those decisions down the stretch here?
Just individually, evaluate each one of those and what the role for those guys on our team are, and if they can help us and we can use them significantly, then we want to.
Coming off the practice field today, head coach Dan Lanning, brought to you by the William Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. 7:30 kickoff, a 5:30 pregame show from Autzen Stadium. Looking forward to a packed house under the lights. I've heard so much about kickoff times over the years, and I'll tell you what, I'm excited for a night game at Autzen Stadium again. I'm looking forward to it this weekend. Rob Moseley is going to join us coming up. We've also got a ton of conversations with Oregon football student-athletes Bo Nix, Tyshim Johnson, and Johnny Cornelius, Ross James. We'll also hear a little bit from Matt Ulmer this week. More to come. Ducks in action tonight, and the Oregon Football Coaches Show coming up tonight as well. Talking with Rob after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Wednesday guest, Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. Rob, do you need some caffeine today?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'm good.
You sure?
Yep. I'm on edge.
Just off the practice field.
Maybe had a little too much.
Rob got the workout in, right? You do a lot of steps. Have you ever tracked how many steps you average at practice? Because you're always on the move.
I mean, our phones are monitoring us at all times, right? So like
that scares me, but
I mean it's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean I usually hit my steps on practice days for sure.
Nice.
And I do make a point of like trying to like stay on the move to like get steps in. Yeah, cuz like I don't run during the fall. I think we've talked about this before. So yeah, I mean I need to try to make sure I'm still getting my
good for
activity in, staying on my feet.
Yeah.
So I try to not just like stand in one place.
I'm with you. Well done.
Yeah.
Good job. Takeaways from last week. What'd you take away from Oregon's game against Cal?
I mean, to start the way they did with the penalties and the turnovers in the first quarter and come back and win pretty resoundingly over a team that has played a lot of people pretty tough this year.
Big deal.
Was impressive. And, yeah, it kind of spoke to where this team's at. Almost said program.
Did you really?
I don't feel like I have earned the right to say that.
Wait, can I just say real quick on that front? One thing that has come, of course, with the cinematic recaps, they're also captioned.
Right.
Did you notice how? Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Good. Anyway, continue, please. Good job, Scoot.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think if you're Dan Lanning, to feel like you won comfortably, but also have a whole bunch of like teaching points to like, keep your team from getting too comfortable and content with its level of play. It's best of both worlds, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
It is a challenge. I mean, in some ways it's easier to learn from a loss than it is from a win. But yeah, when you have some things that are kind of that glaring, that blatant. Bo Nix talked about it yesterday. It wasn't like it was the plays or the schemes or anything. It's just you got to execute your stuff and clean up mental errors and some sloppiness. And was the weather a factor? Probably in like the interception at least.
Yeah,
probably. Is there a couple of those penalties where you're like, man, why was that called? Maybe, but ultimately, you got to try to still find a way to kind of stay away from stuff like that. And
isn't it interesting too? Like you and I have had this conversation in this setting before and on and off air. Like Coach Lanning talks all about the standard, you know, and how you're playing 1A to win the game, but then 1B, it's the standard. You know, it's amazing to put that in perspective in like the context of Oregon football. I think that, you know, like that's where Oregon's at right now. And it's similar like when we talked about how, hey, the Ducks are bowl eligible, and no one ever said that on the broadcast. Did I tell you this story? So Jerry and Georgie like never said on the broadcast after the 6th win, like, hey, the Ducks are bowl eligible.
Which 20 years ago would be
huge deal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and 25.
And so Jerry brought that up to Coach Lanning actually on the coaches show, and Coach Lanning was like, yeah, honestly, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know. To me, it just puts in perspective where the program is every time Coach talks about the standard.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and you know, I think for those of us who've been around for a while too, to recognize just how much things have changed and expectations have changed, and ultimately you have to be forward thinking, and you want that to be the case, and but you know, when you take a peek back in the rearview mirror a little bit too, it's different.
Yeah. Well, I like that you and I have in a lot of cases this year kind of talked about the history. I think that it's such a cool aspect because I'm guilty of this. Like we've talked about it. You know, I get lost in the day-to-day and you forget to sort of take the context and the 1,000-foot view. That being said, 2015 was the last time USC was at Autzen Stadium.
Yeah, that's weird, man.
It was.
Somebody mentioned that like a week or so ago, and I was like, that doesn't sound right.
It's so strange to me. And, you know, I understand the way the schedule rotation is, and then COVID in 2020, like, it changed it all. But, like, that's weird, right?
Yeah. Feels weird.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be fun under the lights. I know that.
Oh, there's no doubt it's going to be really entertaining. Now, with the talent they have and the firepower they have offensively, it could be really stressful, too. But yeah, if you're a football fan, I think this one's gonna be really, really fun.
How's your blood pressure during games?
During games, it's not bad.
Really? It's the build-up?
Yeah, I tend to do a lot of pacing like pregame. And then I think this is a stupid analogy on so many levels, but like you hear athletes talk about like they're nervous and then like the ball is tipped and then kind of the nerves go away.
Right.
I do kind of feel like I experienced sort of the same thing, even though I'm not even remotely close to like participating.
I thought you were going to say once you ate your O cookie.
Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know how I feel after that. I mean,
is the O cookie part of like the pregame nerves? Like if the O cookie doesn't.
No. I mean, it's almost like a mascot at this point.
It is.
I think some people look for
Joey
it.
Harrington would agree.
Yeah, Joey being one of them. And God, if you told, 20 years ago me that would be the case, I'd have laughed.
The guy who made the O to the man, and now there's a cookie. Yeah, that's great.
But I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. No, so nervous pregame. Yeah, blood pressure. Yeah, I tend to do some pacing.
Yeah.
And then once it's on, it's on.
Yeah, I find that these games, the night games, so it's funny. Like you, like I, we get a lot of comments about the kick times, and this is the first late one this year, right? Which I'm excited for. I said that before, Rob. Like I'm looking forward to another one under the lights. I like that Bo Nix and some other student athletes this week have said, like, hey, it's under the lights. It's like you grew up Friday Night Lights sort of thing in high school,
especially at home.
Yeah,
on the road, not as fun.
Agreed, but especially at home. And I feel like the energy at Autzen, because of that, is going to be something else. And I'll be honest, I was thinking about like Fright Night against USC.
Yeah.
That there are some connections to those games. So I don't know. I was just curious, like your thoughts on a 7:30 game. I feel like I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to make for a fun environment.
Yeah, no, I think it's the stadium will probably be as lit as ever, as the kids say.
Well done.
Yeah, I'm young and hip. Yeah, no, I think it's going to be an incredibly fun environment. Hopefully it's dry, but even if it's not, I think that might only just add to the chaos of it. And I think it is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Any keys to the game? What's on your mind?
Oh gosh, I mean, you got to try to contain Caleb Williams as best you can. You're not going to stop him. So part of it's probably going to be knowing, hey, you're going to give up some plays because he's just that good, and the weapons around him are good. Like, as resilient as Oregon had to be last week in terms of bouncing back from its own mistakes, you probably have to be kind of similarly resilient this week in terms of, they're going to score some points. They're going to make some plays. You're still going to want to do your thing. And, even if you're playing from behind, don't let that kind of get to you and, feel like that puts a little more pressure on you. Just keep doing your thing. Bounce back when they do make some plays and next play mentality, as they say. So, that's probably going to be a big key Saturday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing two great offenses as we've been talking about. All right, basketball season has officially tipped off.
Yes.
Just your thoughts. You were covering the women's game live. I know you tuned in for the men's game. Let's start with the men. What'd you think?
I mean, I think when Infali Dante's on the court, those Ducks are always going to have a chance. He's a dude. He's pretty fun to watch, but Nate Biddle's contributions too. Obviously had some foul trouble, so that limited his minutes. But he looks like the way he finished last year, has really kind of catapulted him into this year. And then all those other parts, just got to keep working together and figuring each other out. Brennan Rigsby, seeing him healthy is great. Good kid, and dealt with a lot last year. So having the chance to hit a 3-pointer, hit a big dunk, kind of reassert himself for his confidence, that had to be great. And to play like that without Shellstad, who's presumably going to be a pretty important piece for this team. Hopefully he gets healthy quickly and is back in the mix.
Yeah, Coach said on the pregame, for those of you who missed it when I talked to him, that it's going to be a week or two at least for Jackson Shellstad. And, he and Mookie Cook, another 5-star that won't be with the Ducks playing for another few weeks. Like, I hate that this is a storyline again, but what the team looks like now could look very different come January. Yeah. But that means that these non-conference games are even more important with the way the Ducks schedule is.
Yeah, I think, speaking on behalf of Oregon basketball fans, which is risky obviously, but I think folks are used to that with this program, that, with kind of the new faces that come in each year. I mean, that this is a team that's going to get better and progress throughout the year. I think the frustration internally and externally the last couple of years is that that improvement began from a starting place that was kind of not the standard, kind of to go back to that terminology, and that, you felt like you were, things early in the year were bleak at times, because of injuries and just guys not gelling quickly and things like that. So to start the way they did against Georgia, and, it might not be an elite Georgia team. We'll see how things come together for them. They're kind of in the same boat, it seems like. But, to have that kind of a win where you were up 20 over another Power 5 team on a neutral floor, if that's kind of the starting point, and yeah, sure, there's still going to be some ups and downs, but if that's the starting point, I think that's pretty encouraging, particularly compared to the last couple of years.
Yeah, got to take care of business for sure. Montana is a solid program for the men that are here on Friday. And then, it's weird actually for me. I won't call, Rob, the Tennessee State game or the Florida trip because of football conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got 2 games with Oregon men's basketball, and then I won't see them for 4 more games after that. And so I feel like for fans, like, if I'm feeling that way, it's almost like the departure of the Florida trip as football comes to an end. That Michigan game, the reason I bring all this up, that Michigan game is going to come at you pretty quick, and that's a big-time opportunity on the non-con
So
schedule.
if you're not calling a game, presumably you'll try to watch it, right?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself, calling it in your head?
100%.
Yeah.
All the time.
Like you're doing the broadcast
I can't
for
watch,
an audience of one?
Yeah. And actually, truly, that's how I worked on play-by-play when I was younger.
Yeah.
I would watch games, and I'd kind of be doing it in my mind.
Yeah.
Knight's sitting here directing the show. I still call volleyball in my head when I'm listening to Knight call volleyball.
Yeah, so what was I doing? I was driving around. I watched the first couple sets, or the first set of volleyball. No, the first couple on Sunday, and then I had somewhere to be. And so I was listening to the broadcast, and I don't know how you do it, dude. It's so fast.
It's so fast. Yep.
And yet it's like this person does this, and a big dig, then a big swing, and then a dig, and then a lays to the floor. And
so we're gonna we're putting
what
Knight,
the heck?
We're putting Knight on the spot here.
Yeah.
Did he paint a picture for you? Did you know what was going on?
P-Brain here couldn't even keep up. And plus, I was just marveling at the fact that he was able to, say all this. It's but it is. I mean, I think to that point. I mean, it is so fast. Like your brain can't paint that picture because it's just happening too fast.
Yeah.
But it's a great illustration of how fast it is and the speed of the game, and which obviously when you don't have that visually might be hard to pick up on, but when you have somebody calling it that accurately, it's like, whoa.
I've said this before that part of why I think I was good at basketball play-by-play at a young age is because of volleyball.
Yeah.
Volleyball moves so fast. So I've always Knight's nodding his head as I'm saying this.
Yeah.
I say you have to be able to say bump set spike.
Yeah.
But no one in volleyball actually says bump set spike. Right. You have to say it, though, that fast and describe what happened in accurate terminology. It's amazing.
Did he start that off with one reason I'm so good calling basketball? Did he say that?
I did.
Yeah. All
One,
right.
It's true. It's true. But I really think I owe so much of my career to volleyball.
Yeah.
Because
No.
it was so fast.
I totally can see that. Yeah. And an analogy for me would be, working at newspapers and like writing on deadline, and like the more you can do stuff in like high pressure situations. Now, I don't really have deadlines like that, and but to still be able to do that and to like have that base that you learned at a young age, when the 10,000 hours or whatever, when you learned at a certain speed, then everything else can feel a little slower.
I think you still though operate with a deadline in your own mind, don't you? I feel like you're racing yourself sometimes.
No, because that becomes like the normal. A comfortable, normal feeling of work environment.
Of the deadline race.
Yeah, if I don't impose that on myself, then I'm lollygagging. Oh, is there any snacks available? Oh, and then my mind starts to wander, and then I just feel like I lose focus, and that's reflected in whatever I write. Yeah, it's like it's just so natural because I did it for so long to be like, well, the press run starts at 12:15. Got to be done by 11 or something.
So do you tell yourself post game like I have to be done by this time?
No. It's just so natural to be like, all right, crank this out as fast as possible. Maybe that's 20 minutes, maybe it's 40 minutes, but it's still that sense of like just don't block out everything else. Like I think we were talking last week. Like I wear headphones and I'm listening to like heavy metal, and it's not because I'm rocking out to whatever I'm listening to. It's like that blocks everything else out and puts me in that level of focus. But anyway, props tonight.
Yeah, props tonight. I love listening to volleyball because it is such an illustration of how fast the sport moves. And I've even said this to Coach Ulmer before, like with the way that they watch film. I've asked him like, how many times do you have to rewind a clip because there's so much going on?
That's a great point. Yeah,
it's an amazing sport because of the amount of participants that are on the floor and the speed.
My family was in town this past weekend and we did a ton of stuff. Practices and games and stuff. But we went to the volleyball match Friday, and my brother was like, dude, my retirement plan is to move here and buy Oregon volleyball season tickets.
Great. Great.
This is awesome.
And
I think
season ticket record.
Particularly for somebody who only knew of the sport under the previous scoring system.
Right.
He's got 3 kids. He doesn't watch a whole lot of collegiate volleyball. He's at gymnastics practice and baseball practice. But I don't want to make excuses for him. He doesn't deserve anything. So to have dropped back in, and now this rule and the sport is totally different than what he remembered. For those of us who've digested it for a few years now, we still appreciate it. But you maybe start to take it for granted after a few years at this point. So to view it through his eyes, where he's like, "Whoa, this is like a totally different sport. This is awesome."
Yeah, you're right. The rally scoring's and see, it's interesting. Like that's at the collegiate level, all I've known.
Yeah.
Right. Like
okay.
I started calling. I started calling volleyball, and it was the rally scoring.
Okay.
So, Knight might know. I don't know when that changed. It's as long as I can really remember. Paying attention to collegiate volleyball.
I did commit a major faux pas, and actually, I probably owe you this apology, Knight. We had some social plans Sunday afternoon that involved some of my coworkers who were working volleyball.
Sure.
And it was just whenever the match ended, we'd get together. And the first set was like 25-7. So we were hoping to meet at like 2 o'clock. So I texted my buddies that were working the match like, the Ducks got the message. They understood the assignment. See you guys right at 2 o'clock. You'll be there.
And then the second set.
And Zach was like, dude, why would you say that? Now the second set's going to go 36-34.
And it was 26-24.
Yeah. So, hey.
So this one's on you.
My bad, bro.
Yeah. Hey, you owned it, though.
Yeah,
right?
No,
Yeah.
Rookie move, and I know better than that.
According to a quick search of the internet, 2001 was when the change was made.
Really?
Yeah, 2001. NCAA and NAI volleyball each moved to rally scoring, playing sets to 30 points, and later moving that down to the current 25 points in 2008.
See, I would have said it was like 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, no. 22 years.
Huh, all right.
Yeah, so, and then I had honestly forgotten that it used to be to 30, now to 25.
Yeah.
Matches move a little quicker.
Yep.
As a result of that. So
yeah, I forgot that too.
Yeah, so there you go. See, who knew that this is what happens when Rob comes on the show? We never know the directions that we're going to go.
I mean, I see your little script over. That's cute.
Yeah. That's for tonight, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's for the Coaches Show tonight. Right. Stephen Jones on the Coaches Show tonight.
Oh, nice. The Pancake Award winner of the week.
The Pancake Award winner of the week. Do you see how we scheduled accordingly there?
Well done.
Yeah, it works out. Pancakes are fun.
Pancakes are great.
Yeah, pancakes are great.
Tasty,
What
too.
else should we ask Steve? Anything comes to mind?
He's my neighbor.
Really?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Is he a good neighbor?
Not that close. But, like, I'll see him if I'm out walking the dog and stuff sometimes.
Right.
Within a few blocks.
All right.
Don't ask him about that. That's dumb. I mean, he's a great guy. I mean, he's been here a long time.
Yeah.
It's wild. Sort of like the I marvel, there's Steve Stevens there. We marvel sometimes, like him and Javon Holland and and
All start at the
Verone
same
McKinley,
time.
and they're all these different stages of their careers, or like, the Bo Nix, Justin Herbert overlap.
Right.
Stephen Jones was in the same recruiting class as Panay, right?
Right.
And he, Panay's now
that's
what,
wild.
like a third-year pro?
Yeah. That's wild.
So, just, puts into perspective, how long he's been here, and obviously a guy impacted by the COVID pause or abbreviated season, and got that extra year. So
I always ask guys too, especially for people that are in like a chair like his, little older guy. I ask if any advice they would give to their 17-year-old self.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that one tonight. I think he'll have a great answer to that
I
question.
have such a visceral memory of the first practice of that preseason camp when that O-line class. It was like Chris Randazzo was gigantic, Justin Johnson was gigantic.
They looked a little different.
Panay. Yeah, walking out of practice going, Oregon has never had an offensive line class that looked this different. Holy cow.
Yep.
So
we'll talk about that tonight.
Obviously, with Coach Cristobal, that was a huge priority, and those guys look. That's who recruited those guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's tonight. Oregon Football Coaches Show coming up tonight. Also, women's basketball tonight. I want to end there. We took a left turn into volleyball.
Yeah.
So now back at Matthew Knight Arena, 6:00 tonight. Oregon women's basketball started 1-0 this year.
They did, yeah. And, obviously a lot of concern right now is with Peyton Scott and kind of what her status is. Obviously looked like a pretty serious situation. Just getting hurt just a few minutes into the season's pretty cruel.
Yeah.
For a kid, thinking she was going into her last year of college basketball. So we'll see how that gets resolved over the next, what that looks like for tonight's game and beyond. But they had to shift on the fly during the game, and it seemed like they compensated pretty well. And it's just great. I think all of us really anticipated, okay, this is kind of Grace Van Sluten and Chance Gray's team now. Is it going to look like that? And it did. Yeah. Grace started, obviously really slow in the first half, but Chance, kind of had her back and got the team to halftime by making some big shots. And then Grace really got going in the second half. And I think, Oregon fans have really rallied behind those two with the promise they showed last year. Obviously with all the player movement, you never know what's going to happen. And for them to say, oh no, we're Ducks, we're here, and we're ready to kind of take that next step as leaders. I think people were, really appreciated that, and then to see them play the way they did and kind of back that up Monday again, I think was appreciated. So, I think you look at a couple other players on the roster, looking to get going after maybe slow starts, but long season ahead.
Long season. 6:00 tonight. Game 2 for Oregon women's basketball. Chris Clayton, Bev Smith on the call. 5:30 pregame show, Oregon live stream. They've got the call for you as well. Rob Moseley will be there, and he'll have a recap for you on GoDucks.com.
And that one will be quick because I have built the spill tickets tonight at Wow Hall. So, yeah.
Well done, Rob. Wednesday's concert night for you.
Somehow.
Yeah, it always works out that way.
Yeah.
This is great. We are your concert pregame.
Yeah.
This is nice.
I think, because football practice tomorrow is kind of, a little lighter, a little different. Yeah, it's like Monday and Tuesday are harder nights to stay out late because got to be on our game.
This is a veteran move by you.
Yeah, or old man move.
No. Experienced.
Yeah.
Experienced.
Just can't bounce back as quick.
Right, but you still can make that deadline. Can still make that
Not a
deadline.
problem.
Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief,
Don't wanna jinx myself,
GoDucks.com,
actually.
at GoDucks Mosley, at Duck Football. He'll see you at Matthew Knight Arena tonight.
I will be there.
When we come back, I haven't decided what we're going to do yet, but we are going to hear from Graeme Abel on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Earlier in the Country Financial Studio, our Ryan Milano did a little season review with Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel.
Here with Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel. Coach, year 4 in the books at the University of Oregon. Just what did you learn this year? Does it get any easier as you continue to move forward?
Definitely not easier this year. Definitely not easier this year. No, you know, it's you learn something every year. You know, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you know, I think they, you know, what do they say? Don't waste a failure. So, but you know, there's so many good things we took from this year in terms of experience we got for some of those younger players and stuff. So, all good things that will carry us into the spring and the winter.
And when you look back sort of to the beginning of the year, look back to mid-August, that time of the season when you're just kicking off, how has your team developed from that point and now season in the books? Where did your team grow throughout the year?
I think game management pieces, you look at those pieces in terms of, you know, when you difference between a club game and a college game is, you know, obviously, you know, club game, the various levels of players in it, everybody's kind of the best of the best within their club, you know, when you get into the collegiate environment. So knowing how to manage a game, understanding, you know, how the ebbs and flows of a game and how to work through that piece. So really enjoyed seeing the developments with regards to that piece, you know, some of these, you know, players who don't have a ton of experience, you know, with regards to minutes and in the college game, what, you know, they handled playing against opponents that did have experience and how they grew within that, how to use their body within games. So like I said, a lot of valuable things we took from the season.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Your team ended with a top 10 strength of schedule in the country. When you look at that piece and compare it to the youth of your team and the lessons they can learn moving forward from having to prepare that game management against really high-quality teams, what can they learn from that aspect of it?
Well, I mean, anytime you're playing, you know, quality opponents, you know, it just it strengthens you. In terms of what you're going through in a game. You know, you're doing it against quality opponents. Simple as that. You know, it's so I think the learning moments are heightened for sure because there's just more of them, but it's how we use those learning moments and move forward from them.
When you take a team that is young and you're projecting forward for their sophomore, their junior, their senior years, you only graduate one member of your program. Everyone else has eligibility left. How do you take a year like this one and use it to sort of as the building block and the foundation for the next eras of Oregon soccer moving down the line?
I think it's going through and packaging the things that we did well, you know what I mean, and looking at those pieces, looking at the areas where we need to improve, you know, and balancing out what part of those just come with experience, which is what part of those need to come with more teaching, what do we need to re-emphasize, what habits do we need to move away from, and so it's looking at those different pieces. We'll do a deep dive as a coaching staff over these next few weeks as we start to prepare for the winter and the spring.
I want to talk about that. Now that the season's over, sort of what does it look like for you? How do you balance recruiting and transfer portal and self-evaluation and self-scout? How do you manage all of that, and how does that all come into play now that the season's done?
Well, recruiting happens right away. I mean, we're on the road this weekend again to Arizona. You know, the portal's ongoing, you know, so Sean and Rachel are in there right now hitting refresh every 30 seconds to see who's coming up on the portal, and so we can make contact with those kids. I think the self-reflection piece, I mean, I think that happens all the time. I mean, I think the older you get, especially, you know, for me anyway, you know, it's you're asking questions of yourself all the time, you know, throughout the season, and try to be as self-aware as possible. And the self-scout piece, you know, I think over the winter break, you know, as we go away for the holidays, I'll sit when it's, you know, nice and quiet, everyone's gone off at campus, and take a look at, okay, you know, where are we at with things, and watch games back again with zero emotion involved with them, and just see exactly where we sit, and all that information will kind of flow into what we do in the winter and the spring.
For you, Coach Graeme Abel, after this season's done, what are you looking forward to most for the next 8 months, whether it's soccer related or not?
I enjoy the development piece. I really do. I enjoy the coaching aspect of, you know, making them better, you know, making the student athletes better. So looking forward to, you know, a winter where, you know, we don't have any games, so it's a lot of hands-on coaching. And you know, I look back to that 6 months we had during COVID when you know, we were fortunate enough to work with our student athletes without any games, and so I really enjoyed that aspect there of just, you know, helping them get better and things like that. So I'm looking forward to that piece of it, and yeah, it's I love the winter and the spring, I really do. So it's a chunk that we'll look forward to as a staff.
I want to take this opportunity to sort of dive into your philosophy a little bit more when it comes to some of these off-season things. Mm-hmm. In terms of recruiting, what is your recruiting philosophy? How do you attack it? What are you looking for without, you know, giving away specific recruits, but what are you looking for from a general sense?
Anyone that can make us better, essentially, you know what I mean? And so, you know, we look at areas of the roster where we feel as though maybe we're lacking depth. Any injuries that are going to impact us? Do we need to replace depth or quality in certain areas? So we evaluate that as a staff all the time, you know, and then you have to balance that with who you have on your roster who maybe hasn't played but you know is going to develop into a quality student athlete and quality player for you. So it's constantly balancing those pieces and trying to look at it, and then again, you know, dealing with the transfer portal.
Well, let's talk about the transfer portal. You mentioned your staff. They're on top of it. Yep. They're clicking refresh whenever they can. How do you balance bringing in recruits versus bringing in transfers? And then from a transfer portal, what really do you look to bring in to sort of improve on a roster or help enhance pieces of your roster?
I think the portal piece is difficult from the standpoint of everything moves so quick. You know, if you think about a recruiting process, we start the recruiting process in, you know, 2026 as you're looking at right now, and so you're able to watch them up until, you know, June 15th of the junior, going into the junior year. It was the first time we can chat with them, so you get to watch them for, you know, close to a year in terms of evaluating, finding out about their personality, watching their personality. The thing with the transfer portal is everything happens within 48 hours in terms of them being in the portal, having conversations, getting them on visits and things like that. So there's a little bit more of an art when it comes to the character piece, checking on that piece, making sure they're the right fit for your program from a personality standpoint. So So that piece is huge. And then, again, balance it out in terms of what you need from your roster perspective.
It's the era of collegiate athletics where there is so much turnover, but there's also turnover off the field, away from the roster, going into a new conference in the Big Ten. How does that impact things? First, let's start from a recruiting or a transfer portal perspective. How does a move to a conference impact that?
Well, I think, you when we made that change, I mean, I think that our president and Rob had done such a good job at positioning us to be at the kind of the forefront of collegiate athletics at the elite level. And so the Oregon brand, the Oregon name has always been that way. And so to stay at that kind of top end of it was important. And so that allows us to continue to compete against the best schools, you know what I mean, compete with the best resources. And we obviously have the best facilities here, but continue to have those and continue to enhance upon those. So that's massive when it comes in the recruiting process. And then I didn't realize, when you're switching conferences and things like that, what it affects from the academic standpoint and some of the academic benefits that go with that as well. So it just positions us really, really well to compete at the top end of things.
Let's talk about it on the pitch as well. From that perspective, obviously the Pac-12, a strong conference, but so is the Big Ten. What does the move sort of mean from the difference of opponents and the on-field sort of experience that fans are going to be able to see?
A little bit longer grass as we move towards the Midwest places and things like that. But no, really good soccer. I mean, some really good schools have done exceptionally well. Penn State kind of headlining that one. I think Rutgers has been into the Final Four over the last few years. Michigan have done exceptionally well as well. And so lots of programs in there that have done really, really well. So again, it's going to be another competitive conference for us to join.
Coach, is there anything else as we go into the offseason that you want to touch on or want fans to know before Oregon soccer gets back on the pitch all the way back in next August?
I know. Stick with us. I mean, we had an incredibly young roster this year, but some huge talents there, and so we'll get to work here pretty quickly once we get done with all our testing and things like that, and we'll get right back on the horse and head to 2024.
That's Oregon soccer coach Graeme Abel. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it as always.
Here's to 2024.
Graeme Abel sitting down with Ryan Milano. They actually recorded on Monday, normally when Coach Abel talks to us on Duck Insider, but we had basketball going on during the show, so Ryan recorded with Coach Abel, and I thank him for doing so. I hope that the offseason goes the way that they want it to. Young roster, injuries, hoping for a good 2024 for Duck soccer. When we come back and hear from quarterback Bo Nix, keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Yesterday, Oregon quarterback Bo Nix met with the media. Always want to hear what the Duck QB has to say. 2 Heisman contenders at quarterback going at it. One of them talking with the media here, Bo Nix.
Does a new DC impact your preparation, and what do you even look for to pick up on game plan and play calling tactics?
Well, I think that'll be you won't probably be able to see it until the game. So you just got to go off what they've been doing, and they probably won't change a whole lot just because it's a short week to prepare. But I think they'll just go back through their arsenal and pick some of the schemes that they've had and just go out there and play ball.
You going back and looked at the Alamo Bowl game just because the
Not
DC?
yet.
Okay.
Does that kind of a challenge excite you personally in terms of just, I know you like to get the line of scrimmage and kind of figure things out. Is that kind of a challenge, maybe something you look forward to?
Yeah, I think definitely going to have to get our eyes up and see the picture and just kind of play off our rules of what we've been doing all year, and we'll see something that's different for sure, and we'll have to change some things, but it's part of in-game adjustments.
As comfortable a win as last week was, you guys are also very critical of yourselves too, just as the last couple of days have progressed and you've looked back on it more and started to move forward. Just how have you felt about what you could do better and how to build on that?
Yeah, we're just I think execution-wise, it was not the plays or the schemes, it's just the mental errors and the the penalties and the turnovers that really, when we fix, we're gonna even have more success. And so that's what we're working on as an offense, and that's what we're trying to do.
You mentioned the communication with Jackson on the snap play. Is that something you guys put extra emphasis on this week, or change anything you're doing, or?
No, that's never really happened. So, we just got to continue to do what we do and just communicate in the little things better in game.
You guys playing some pretty big games, some rivalry games, but haven't gotten to play USC yet. What's your understanding of this rivalry, and kind of what do you heard from the guys?
Oh, well, I'm excited, and I know it's going to be a really fun game. We get to play at night under the lights, and that's everybody's dream. It's where football is really fun, and I know they're going to bring their A game. They're going to play really hard, and that's what we can expect. And we just got to match their intensity and start fast.
What's your relationship like with Caleb? Have you spent much time with him over the past few years?
Not a whole lot. We've always been in different situations, different positions. I'm older than he is, so we didn't really come up together. And we've obviously been in different conferences until the last 2 years. And I've been around him a few times, got to know him, and I really respect what he does. Really respect how hard he plays, and the competitor that he is. I just understand that. We're really in the same boat, and we go about our business the same, and we try to do whatever we can to win games, and so I respect that about him.
You never face an opposing quarterback in that way, because you're not defending them or whatever, but that's how these games are built. It's, one great quarterback went to the next level, it's that way. How do you feel, how do you mentally approach those sorts of games, whether it was you against whoever, Mac Jones or Bryce, or you heard against Bryce, but you know what I'm saying, like against Burrow, whoever, like that caliber of quarterback when he is on the other side?
Well, the only thing I can do is just worry about their defense, and that's what we've been doing all year, and we just go out there and attack their defense. We trust and believe in our defense to go out and defend him, and so that's all we can do, and I just got to do my job, and everybody else on the team will do theirs.
On defense, you played Christian Wallace, Roland Wallace before. He was at Arizona, but what have you seen from him this year, 17 for them?
He does good, and they just got a lot of talent on their defense. They really athletic, got some range, and we know they're going to be a good team. They're going to be really, I think, ready to go. They're going to be enthusiastic. They're going to be kind of lit up at the beginning of the game and just excited for the atmosphere. And so we just got to do a good job of controlling our intensity at the beginning and making sure that we start fast.
You mentioned playing under the lights. What's your opinion of the 7:30 kick? I know some people are against it because they wait around all day and you got to wait for a long time. What's your opinion on it?
Well, it's out of my control. I think it's just TV times and you get slotted. It is what it is. And I don't mind a good night game every once in a while. And I do know from family back home in the East Coast, they're going to stay up real late. So that part does stink for them. But it's part of it, and I'm just excited to be on TV and playing against a good opponent.
I love that answer, right? When you're talking about the night games with Bo Nix, and it is Friday Night Lights, it's Saturday Night Lights. This is fun. I'm looking forward to it. I know when there's been a lot look, I'll be honest. When it's a lot of 7 and 7:30 kicks, that's when I'm like, okay, let's play a 12:30. But now that it's been a 12:30, a 12:30, like, yeah, let's play a 7:30. Going to be fun at Autzen Stadium. When we come back, looking around the schedule for Duck Athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Finishing up Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. Dan Lanning will join myself and Mike Jorgensen tonight. The Oregon Football Coaches Show, streamed live on the Oregon Football social media channels and across the Oregon Sports Network as well. We're having Stephen Jones join us as well, Oregon offensive lineman. Looking forward to it here tonight. And, of course, Oregon women's basketball, Game 2. Arkansas Pine Bluff, a veteran team. They're in town with a 6 o'clock start scheduled here this evening, 5:30 pregame show. Chris Clayton, Bev Smith, Oregon Livestream has you covered as well. Your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Cafe Yum, always across everywhere, honestly, that you tune into the Oregon Sports Network, there's a Cafe Yum. They told me that the other day, and I thought, well, that's nice. Oregon volleyball, a big one tomorrow at 6 o'clock against Stanford, too. I'm looking forward to that. All right, Coach Show tonight. See you then, everybody.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays?